is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. FTX liquidator filing a suit in U.S. court saying serious fraud and mismanagement has been committed in the FTX matter. However, the Prime Minister saying yesterday, we will emerge from the FTX saga with an enhanced reputation. That's all ahead. Later on, we're talking about jollification. It is back. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, November 17th, 2022, and this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Chester Robards, filling in for Dwight Strachan, who might be in Egypt. I don't know. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with the Central Bank and the Bahamas National Trust about jollification. It is back. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. And in the overnight, Brian Sims, KC, one of the joint provisional liquidators appointed to oversee the winding up of FTX, said he did not authorize anyone affiliated with FTX to file for bankruptcy in the United States and rejects the petition. Sims also said the findings of the liquidators indicate that serious fraud and mismanagement might have occurred at the crypto exchange firm. The revelation was contained in a 33-page Chapter 15 bankruptcy filing in New York. Chapter 15 bankruptcy allows U.S. and foreign bankruptcy courts to collaborate when assets are spread over multiple countries. It says, quote, generally a Chapter 15 case is ancillary to a primary proceeding brought in another country, typically the debtor's home country, according to the U.S. government. The joint provisional liquidators are seeking recognition of the Bahamas liquidation as a foreign proceeding under the U.S. Bankruptcy Code because, quote, because FTX Digital maintains its center of main interests in the Bahamas. And the Prime Minister, in his first public statement since the collapse of Bahamas-based FTX, saying in the House of Assembly yesterday that based on the analysis and understanding of the FTX liquidity crisis to date, we, quote, have not identified any deficiencies in our regulatory framework that could have avoided this. He says, quote, in fact, it was because the Bahamas already had in place a regulatory framework for digital assets and digital assets businesses that the regulator was able to take immediate steps in order to protect the interests of clients, creditors, and other stakeholders globally. After constructing only 34 of the 213 domes it committed to installing on Abaco in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, Brickell Management Group determined that it did not wish to continue with the $6.4 million contract it signed with the government, according to the Disaster Reconstruction Authority's financial audit. At that point, BMG had already been paid $4.6 million and later said it was owed $1.1 million by the government. The audit was tabled in Parliament yesterday. The audit said, quote, the DRA was later charged to manage the completion of the dome installations and undertook an exercise to determine the inventory of materials on hand and value received on the BMG contract with the view to assessing any liability or recoverable amount that may exist. Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell said in Parliament yesterday the record of the United Nations, which shows the Bahamas voted against a resolution that calls for Russia to pay war reparations to Ukraine, was recorded in error, and that the Bahamas actually joined other CARICOM states in abstaining. Mitchell addressed the issue after concerns in some circles over the Bahamas' no vote. He said, unfortunately, due to an error, the vote of the Bahamas was recorded as no when it should have been abstain. We have a photograph of the board reflecting abstain, but when the vote closed, the vote recorded as no. It should have been abstain. He said, quote, we have taken the steps to seek to reflect properly what the record is, but we've been advised that in the system of the United Nations, it is not possible to change what is the recorded vote, and the procedure is that you enter a statement which corrects the record, which we have done. And the tour company owner and his boat captain were yesterday acquitted of charges related to an explosion that killed an American tourist and wounded 4 others in Exuma in 2018. Justice Janine Weech Gomez directed the acquittals of Clayton Patterson Smith, the owner of Four Seas Adventures, and Roderick Smith, after she upheld no case submissions made by Muriel DeSeal KC. The aluminum boat burst into flames shortly after leaving for the popular Swimming Pigs tour in Exuma on June 30th, 2018. Malika Jackson died as a result of the explosion, and her husband of 15 years, Teran Jackson, was also injured. Stephanie Schaefer had both legs amputated. Schaefer's mother, Stephanie Bender, and stepfather, Paul Bender, were also hurt. The survivors testified that the tour was supposed to be the highlight of the vacation to Exuma and that Four Seas Adventure had been highly recommended. Inspector Dwayne Lewis, who examined the fire-gutted vessel, said that a number of structural and electrical defects made the boat a perfect bomb. However, he could not pinpoint what caused the explosion. Internationally, Russia launches new Ukraine barrage as grain deal extended. Russian airstrikes inflicted more damage on Ukraine on Thursday, with the latest barrage smashing into energy infrastructure, apartment buildings, and an industrial site. At least 4 people were killed and more than a dozen others wounded in drone and missile strikes around the country. Separately, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced an extension of a 4-month-old deal to ensure the safe delivery of export of grain, foodstuffs, and fertilizers from Ukraine through the Black Sea, just days before it was set to expire. Guterres said in a statement, the United Nations is also fully committed to removing obstacles that have impeded the export of food and fertilizer from Russia, which is one of the 2 agreements struck between the 2 countries and Turkey in July. The deals signed in Istanbul are aimed to help bring down prices of food and fertilizer and avoid a global food crisis. Let's have a look at sports. A total of 15 more sports icons were inducted into the Bahamas National Sports Hall of Fame on Wednesday as the class of 2022, included the Bahamas Golden Girls. The induction was done in a ceremony held at the Andros Ballroom at Bahamar. And the Bahamas Association of Independent Secondary Schools crowned its first champions in a team sport in 2 years on Wednesday as the softball championships continued over at the Freedom Farm baseball field. In Yamakra. Just 2 teams battled this season as the BAISS made a triumphant return in sports. And when the dust had cleared, it was the St. Augustine's College Big Red Machine celebrating another title. SAC had to come from behind, taking down the Queen's College Comets. They scored 12 of their 15 runs in the last 2 innings to pull off the victory and are now celebrating their first BAISS Junior Girls Softball title since 2017. And for a second consecutive weekend, budding Bahamian judoka Xavion Johnson left the competition with a gold medal around his neck after winning one at the Ontario Open at the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, last Saturday. He picked it up in the under-18 60-kilogram division. The 16-year-old took down Philippe Manuel with an ippon. This was the second straight week he faced Manuel. It feels amazing to get another gold 2 times in a row in one of Canada's biggest tournaments in judo. My final match was against an amazing judoka who I beat at the Quebec Open, so I knew he was going for revenge, said Johnson. Johnson also competed in the senior men's 60-kilogram category, but placed 5th. In international sports, NFL players are urging the league to get rid of turf and go with grass. Aaron Rodgers has hit the ground in every NFL stadium except one, and while the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field has delivered its share of bumps and bruises, the venues with artificial turf have been even rougher on Rodgers' nearly 39-year-old body. I do think it's time to go all grass throughout the league, the 4-time MVP said Tuesday, echoing a growing sentiment that's become a major talking point around the NFL. Players Association President J.C. Tretter called on 6 venues to immediately change their playing surfaces last weekend, saying the artificial turf in those stadiums results in higher injury rate when comparing non-contact injuries and lower extremity injuries like sprained ankles and torn knee ligaments. Players from Seattle to Miami, from New England to Los Angeles have loudly backed Tretter. Rodgers, Green Bay 10-time Pro Bowl quarterback, who has played in every stadium except Las Vegas, thinks there's a way for the league to pivot to grass quickly. That's sports. That's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your outlook for today, variably cloudy, warm, and a bit breezy with isolated showers and thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times ahead of the front. That's shifting north to northeast at 15 knots behind the front. Seas 3 to 5 feet over open waters. The effects of the frontal boundary combined with steadily increasing moisture streaming across the area will keep the potential for shower and thunderstorm activity slightly elevated over the Bahamas as the system migrates southwards and eventually stalls across the northwestern islands through Friday. We'll have a lot more in weather for you coming up. Your weather outlook brought to you by the Chickchani Challenge, sponsored by Kalina.
Morning Blend Weather Check brought to you by the Chickcharney Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course run is back this December 3rd at Clifton Heritage Park. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Chickcharney Challenge, the return. Sign up today at chickcharneychirin.com or call 421-8915 today. The Chickcharney Challenge.
When we come back, we're discussing some of the day's top stories. That's when Morning Blend continues here on Guardian Radio 96.9, home of fresh news and smart talk all day.
Know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Join Journey Rewards for free, and every purchase is another chance to win big monthly prizes like a cruise for two, plane tickets, free fuel, and so much more. Just scan, win, repeat. Fuel up or grab a snack or a drink at any Esso service station. Then scan the QR code to enter your purchase information. That's it. The more you enter, the more you can win. And win, and win again. Journey Rewards. Scan, win, repeat. Free to join and easy to enter. Start by an Esso service station and start winning today. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on www.guardiantalkradio.com and the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices and on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Guardian Radio is all over social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Chester Robards, and joining me, Laverne Gardner.
Good morning.
Good morning, Laverne.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Great.
It's a pleasure to have you back with me.
Yes. It's good to be here.
Excellent. And you can join our conversation today. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or follow the hashtag MorningBlend. Be sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Leave your comments and read what others are saying about the topics on this show. You can also email us at morningblend@nascar.com. Or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. That's 422-GR96, 422-4796. Standard text rates do apply. We also like to hear your voice. You can call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. We also like to hear new voices on the phone lines. Also coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. We have business news coming up in Morning Blend Business at 9 a.m. Later on the show, we're going to be talking about jollification. That's always a good time. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, first, Laverne, I want to ask you, how are things over in Grand Bahama? I feel like we don't talk about Grand Bahama enough, but especially since Nicole passed through, how are things looking over there?
Things are looking good. We didn't really get a lot of damage. I wasn't here during Nicole. I was off island, but, just communicating with family, friends, it doesn't appear as if there was major damage anywhere. We were able to go right back, I guess, to normal life the following day.
Okay, that's good.
So, we're fortunate, we're thankful, we're grateful, relieved, all of those things, and so we continue in Grand Bahama to make the best of our situation. I think that's the best way that I can describe it.
Yeah. And y'all been doing that for a while.
Yeah, and I think sometimes because we have people just take it for granted, they'll just be fine. But,
Yeah. Well, over here, we're finally hearing from the government officially on FTX after a week and a bit. And so we have a story in the Nassau Guardian today. PM says we will emerge from FTX saga with an enhanced reputation. Enhanced. Let's read some of what our Candia Dames wrote. In his first public statements since the collapse of Bahamas-based FTX, Prime Minister Philip Davis said in the House of Assembly yesterday that based on the analysis and understanding of the FTX liquidity crisis to date, we have not identified any deficiencies in our regulatory framework that could have avoided this. In fact, he says, it was because the Bahamas already had in place a regulatory framework for digital assets and digital assets businesses that the regulator was able to make immediate steps in order to protect the interests of clients, creditors, and other stakeholders globally. As the dramatic implosion of FTX played out, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas announced last Thursday it had frozen the assets of FTX Digital Markets and related parties, suspended the registration, and applied to the Supreme Court of the Bahamas for the appointment of a provisional liquidator. Davis told Parliament, quote, "I believe, as do many others, that blockchain technology and smart contracts will continue to play an important and growing role in the world's financial architecture." And further, "I have every confidence that the Bahamas will emerge from the proceedings involving FTX, proceedings taking place here as well as in other jurisdictions, with an enhanced reputation as a solid digital assets jurisdiction." Prime Minister also cautioned those who care about our country's reputation to tread carefully when they speak about the complex matters involving FTX. He says, quote, "There is a reason that the Bahamas won international praise for the approach we have taken to date on digital assets, and there is also plenty of room to have a healthy debate about the industry, but this is a story that has the world's attention, and those who use it to mislead and score cheap political points are no patriots." On the weekend, opposition leader Michael Pintard called on the government to publicly address FTX issues. He said, "We are all shocked by the daily revelations that are now becoming known nationally and internationally, and called upon the government to provide the investing public a clear and cogent statement on the matter and the steps being taken to guard against the jurisdictional fallout and shore up investor confidence." So, as we all probably know by now, FTX came here under the Digital Assets and Registered Exchanges Act. I don't know about anybody else, and I just, maybe it's some semantic thing, but when the Prime Minister says, in fact, it was because the Bahamas already had in place a regulatory framework for digital assets and digital assets businesses, that the regulator was able to take immediate steps. I mean, would they even have been here if we didn't have it? Anyway, I'm probably grasping at straws here.
You are splitting hairs.
I totally am.
You are splitting hairs at this point, Just.
But anyway, I guess the point is the DARE Act worked in the way that it's supposed to work.
I thought we got the act because they came here. Just saying, but
no,
that's not split hairs. Like, oh, they're coming here. Okay, we have to have an act.
Yeah, no, the act brought them here. And, but you know, it's funny because people were passing around an article from Barbados yesterday, and some people might have seen that explained that they were looking at Barbados. And I forgot what the person's position was there, but I'll pull it up. But he was basically saying that he took a look at what FTX was wanted out of a regulator, and wanted from a regulator, and told them, that we can't offer you this. Basically saying it's a bit risky, and
right.
And then FTX said, "Okay, fine, we're going somewhere else."
Right. So yeah. That's why I said, maybe what we did was based on what they wanted. Going on the article, this is what we're looking for, and we said, okay, we can make it happen.
He's the immediate past chairman of the Financial Services Commission.
Okay.
In Barbados. Yeah. So not just So he was saying. He said, quote, "We demanded separate brokers, traders, and custodians, so the exchange couldn't make speculative trades with your money, and they decided not to come." I don't know what that means to other people, especially people in the financial world, but basically what he said in that quote is what people are finding out happened in this case, right?
Right.
People invested. People were trading money on this exchange, but also buying FTX's tokens, and they were using that money to do some other things.
Right.
which as far as we know, shouldn't have happened.
No.
So, but the prime minister is saying some interesting things.
Right.
First, he's warning. I don't know who he was warning specifically.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I found that when I was listening to it yesterday, I was like, I don't really know. Is he speaking to the international community?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I hope they were listening.
Right. Were they listening in the House? I don't know.
Well, he definitely was talking to the opposition. He's saying you're not a patriot if you're talking bad about us in this situation.
I could be wrong. Maybe I missed it. I thought that the opposition was just saying that we need you to come up with a strong statement with regards to this. So I don't know if that was talking negatively, but I mean, it's true. He's been silent about this issue. This issue has been going on now. We're into the third week?
No, just a week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I feel like it's 3 weeks since I've been reading this. That's true.
I think it's a week and 3 days.
About this last week.
Yeah, I think it's a week and 3 days. It feels like forever though.
Right. So, to come out and say something at this point, so I don't know. My thing was, how do we come out with an enhanced reputation? One of the alarming articles, because I just started reading everything everywhere, right? Yeah. And of course, I'm sure you saw the article that says that the headline was that FTX was run by Bahamians who were all girlfriends and boyfriends of each other and living together.
Oh no! They I don't know which article you read.
Yeah,
but they weren't talking about Bahamians. They were talking about Sam Bankman-Fried and his group of friends.
Well, that was the headline.
Oh. Oh, wow.
So,
they got that one wrong.
That was the headline. That was one of the articles that I read. I was starting to read. I was like, what is going on here? I
think part of what the PM is saying is there's a ton of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
That we got to be careful.
And so it's important for us, the Bahamas, to be able to jump ahead of it and state the facts as we know them. I think that's going to be the thing. And it's also going to be important for us to use this, I guess, moving forward, to make sure that we are doing our due diligence when it comes to this and other investors,
Yeah.
Whatever it is that we need to do to make sure that things are operating the way that it should be. If they're part of the Securities Commission, then to make sure that the Securities Commission has the tools that they need to go in and to look at these various companies and to make sure that everything is above board. I think those are the things that we can do immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the enhanced reputation thing, I think, is going to. I mean, obviously, we will have a different outlook than the international community, and already, you keep hearing, and I keep asking people about this, and maybe some people who may be texting me right now could help me with this, but you keep hearing. People in the United States, and they are not perfect in regulating their own sectors. Let's get that clear.
Let's establish that.
Yeah. But you keep hearing them say, this sector needs regulation. It's the reason this happened is because largely unregulated and blah 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 blah. But when they talk about FTX, they are talking about a regulated company.
Yeah.
And so, that stings a little. Every time I hear it, I'm like, do these people know that FTX has a regulator in the Bahamas?
What I got from that, because I'm like you, that didn't sting a little. I was like, what are these people doing? But, you almost get the impression as if because we don't have the regulators, we're not the regulators, then it's not regulated properly.
Right.
That's the impression.
Correct.
I don't know if that's the intention, but that's certainly what, reading articles is what I'm getting. It's like, hey,
right.
You keep saying it's largely unregulated, this industry, but FTX had regulators, but it's almost as if we weren't the regulators. And so, anything could happen because if it was us, this would have been different. And we know that things happen. They've had major issues with Ponzi schemes and the like and the rest. And so I don't think that there's any perfect system.
Yeah. They have been responsible for lots of things.
Right.
But, each talking head is responsible for their own memory. And
and of course, they're going to speak to make sure that they're seen in the best light. So that's why I said for us, our posture has to be that we put the information out there, not react to information that is coming out.
Right, exactly.
We put the information out. Hey, this is where we are. This is what is happening with this company, FTX. This is what the commission is doing. Yeah. This is what we're reviewing in terms of our policies and our act to see how best we can prevent something like this from happening, and kind of, as best as possible, lead the conversation. We need to have the lead voice.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely, and that's probably part of why the opposition was saying that somebody needs to talk, and talk fast, because this story is everywhere, and people were drawing up articles faster than you can.
Every day, Chester. Every day.
It seemed like every hour of the day last week there was something new coming, and it was crazy. So we should have been part of that news cycle, from an official standpoint. The Securities Commission has only put out 3 statements, and the provisional liquidators are doing their job, so they're not saying anything yet. So somebody needed to say something, and I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
But the other point, and this probably needs to be expanded by somebody eventually, is that, and I'm sure it will be, is that when you talk about the reputation of the country, you also have to balance the newness of the industry, of the cryptocurrency industry, and not just that, how very technical and nuanced the systems that these people who are in the industry are building themselves, right? So while you have, financial services companies that largely do things, they all kind of do the same kinds of things, and run the same kinds of systems. These companies that are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, that's stuff that the Securities and Exchange Commission already know. They know how these people trade and build financial products and how to police these financial products. But when it comes to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and just like coding certain systems within their own infrastructure, who could know? Nobody could know, right? You're going to be reading articles about how a backdoor was built into FTX so that they could move money around. That's not surprising. I'm sure it's easy for somebody who knows anything about coding and computers to open a little hole,
right, to be able to do that,
to be able to do whatever they want to do, and avoid scrutiny, inside and outside. Because how often is the Securities Commission and their people in your business? You have a somebody who kind of represents them inside of your business, and they're responsible for telling the regulator eventually, hey, something's awry here.
Right.
But if they can't see it because you've built your system in that way, then you're not gonna find out these things until things like FTX
happens.
So the criticism that may be leveled against the Bahamas and the Securities Commission is going to be largely unfair, and that's just my opinion. A lot of people who are in the financial services sector and who are in the industry still don't understand cryptocurrency, still don't understand tokens, still don't believe in tokens and coins in some instances. So this is probably going to be the situation that, I don't know what you call it, that kind of grounds this industry, right? Because it wasn't grounded before,
Right.
And it's probably making other exchanges a little bit nervous, because they know that when the regulations are finally written and when they are amended locally and other places, they will be much stronger.
It's gonna be a lot different.
It's gonna be stronger.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot more hands-on, I'm sure. They're gonna, you know how some companies hire hackers, right? To hack their own systems, just to see. Yeah, just to ensure that their systems are as close to unhackable as possible, right? That's probably what's going to happen in these kind of industries if they want to be regulated and find themselves in regulated jurisdictions. They're going to probably need to let somebody into their company and their back ends digging around and saying, no, what is this? Like, why is this able to do this, right? Like somebody who is so savvy in these kinds of
you're
systems.
You're gonna have, like you're saying, that you're gonna have people, regulators, asking a lot more questions, and probably requiring a lot more, and even hiring people who are more knowledgeable, so that they know the right questions to ask and maybe some of the red flags.
Right. But imagine they would have to be on a level of like a Sam Bankman-Fried in terms of their knowledge of these systems. I mean, and you know what that's going to do? That's going to cost a ton of money to hire somebody like that, because the bulk of the knowledge they have and the things that they're able to do is probably probably worth a lot. But if you want to properly police this kind of industry, an industry that wants to be unregulated in certain instances, in certain cases, an industry that wants to be decentralized from regular financial services systems, who want to look different and act different and operate differently, then you're going to have to get people who understand it and who can truly look as deep into it as they can, so that these kinds of things never happen again. Let's read some of the text messages that are coming in. This one says, "Morning, comrade. A special mention, please, to the hardworking nurses at the PMH dialysis unit. Nurse Maycock, Nurse Zonical, Nurse Sweeting, and Nurse Pista, Nurse McKenzie, and special mention Nurse Riches from Eleuthera, also Sister Roker. Thank you. I'm sure they do a great job over there, and thank you for what you do." Good morning, Chester and guests. While we are bad-mouthing our own, FTX was the second largest donor to the Democratic Party of the United States, so we aren't the only country who was blindsided. Well, of course not.
But who's bad-mouthing, though?
Some people, I'm sure, are bad-mouthing the digital assets and registered exchanges thing, and maybe saying, oh, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas may not have done what they were supposed to do. But again, this is not an easy industry to understand.
Right.
First of all. So it can't be an easy industry to police. Second of all. Third of all, when the person who is being regulated is able to build an online underground bunker, that's largely invisible to you, what can you do?
Right. There's only so much you could do. And so that's why we can only look at this situation as the country, as the Securities Commission, and, kind of have takeaways. What can we do better? Can we 100% foolproof this so that this absolutely never happens again? No. But we sure can be more aware. And so those are the things that you have to take away. How can we, make sure that we don't have any that the act doesn't have any loopholes, make sure that we get people and we train them so that they have a clear understanding. Yes, some of the things now that we understand that maybe we have to look at, our question that we didn't know before. Those are the those are the kinds of things I think that we have to look at. I don't necessarily know if we need to blame anyone and say, oh, the government should have known. I think that would be unfair.
Well, again, okay. Let me read some of these text messages because I think some of them kind of ask the same questions as you and then answer some of the questions. A lot of people are responding. This person says, let's be real. The Bahamas won praise for its stance on establishing itself as a digital assets hub, primarily because FTX came here. This is true. And then they said there's nothing fundamentally revolutionary in the DARE Act, and truly this FTX saga has highlighted extreme deficiencies in the Bahamas' digital assets regulatory regime. See, so some people don't think that it's working the way it should.
Right, that there are deficiencies, and that's fine.
Right. This person says, FTX deficiencies, I submit if our digital assets regulation included more specifics on services, then FTX could not have commingled these funds. So again, that's something that has to be looked at, right? And I'm sure they're going to look at it. This person says, how does the FTX situation impact current and future blacklisting? We don't know yet, but we do know that the OECD has or is drafting rules about cryptocurrencies and digital assets. So this person says, let's not make excuses. There are processes that should be in place to identify something on this scale. Internal compliance, which should be independent of the business. A board of directors with at least one independent director that has knowledge of the business. Internal audit, external audit from a reputable firm. Securities Commission reviews the reporting from all of the above and can complete their own on-site reviews, and for a business on this scale should have completed such review. This is just a summary of all that failed without getting into the business. These are guardrails. And right, but these are the things that exist now in financial services firms, right? But do they work in these kinds of firms? That's the question. Right.
You know what I think about too, Chester, when we're talking about this and talking about the act and what we have in place, the regulations that we have in place for this kind of industry. And I'm just wondering who led this? Who led the discussion? Where were we getting advice from? In terms of sitting down and saying what kind of regulations, how can we craft this? I'd be very curious to see who had a seat at that, to know who had a seat at that table.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Did FTX have a seat at that table?
Yeah. So I'm being corrected. The OECD has drafted rules for the industry, and they are set to implement it. So when you talk about blacklisting, that's probably to come. So I have a message here saying we were one of the first jurisdictions to attempt to put a regulatory framework on digital assets. We were not the first to regulate the crypto space, a narrative that you often hear in the Bahamas. The challenge is, how do you regulate something that was created to exist in an environment that lacks regulation? This is where the Securities Commission of the Bahamas went wrong, probably in their haste to be the first in the region to have legislation seeking to do so. Not even the U.S. has been able to determine how to mitigate the risks of a decentralized system. Since 2017, the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the SEC, and Fed Reserve have been trying to find a perfect balance of regulatory oversight for crypto. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this industry was never really truly meant to sit in a mainstream place and be governed by strict rules. And when you look at it, and if you're honest with yourself, and Sam Bankman-Fried tweeted yesterday, I'm going to find this tweet. What did he say? Well, I'm going to start with the first thing he said. I was on the cover of every magazine, and FTX was the darling of Silicon Valley. And he says, after that, we got overconfident and careless. And he says, problems were brewing larger than I realized. He almost sounds like he has no idea what was going on in his company. But anyway.
Well, that's never good, eh?
Right? But I lost my train of thought. But this the other this is the picture, right? Sam Bankman-Fried comes into a jurisdiction. And I don't know if he was doing this before he came to the Bahamas, but suddenly, like he said, he was the poster boy of cryptocurrency, and digital assets and all of this stuff, right? All of a sudden, there was more public relations around FTX than you'd ever seen before, right? Meanwhile, and FTX fluctuated between like second and third and other places, but in the top 10 of exchanges across the world, right? The big guys, and you've heard Binance, the name Binance already, the big guys ain't as flashy. The big guys who are saying, we don't mishandle our clients' funds, and we have reserves 1-to-1, and we could pay everybody back if they come into our exchange to take their money. Where are they? Right? No, they're not on the cover of magazines. Yeah, they're doing some PR when they're asked to come to speak to something. But they ain't out here extolling themselves as the biggest thing since sliced bread in their industry, right? They're kind of sitting quietly back saying, we're trying to grow this thing. It's a difficult thing to swallow for some people, but it's working because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry already. And we kind of want to be left alone. That's not where Sam Bankman-Fried wanted to be. Because again, someone mentioned that he was given millions of dollars to the Democratic Party in the United States and trying to get regulations in place in the U.S. as some people in the other parts of the industry would say, to suit himself, not to suit everybody else. Right? So, hey, read some more of these text messages. Chester, how the PM never responded to the international critics, but only the local critics. He wasn't crazy enough to talk bad about the U.S. Okay. Also, no one is saying that our regulators are perfect. We are saying that they should have been more alert on FTX taking deposits and ensuring that they keep adequate minimum capital to facilitate withdrawals. When will the Bahamian people ask for the resignation of Christina Rule, ex officio board member, executive director of securities? When? Chester, what makes you think Sam Bankman-Fried is smart? Well, he's smarter than me. In the space. That's what I'm saying. This person says, hi, good morning. The only time Bahamian knows about tokens and coin is going over PI Bridge. Wow. That person is a hater. This person says, do you agree with PM there's only one FTX company operating in the Bahamas? What does that mean? Do you agree with PM there is only one FTX company operating in the... Huh? I don't understand what that question is.
The statement, remember his statement yesterday in the House, he was saying that there is only one part of FTX that is regulated.
I don't...
In the Bahamas. That was part of the PM statement. There's there's only one thing, not their entire whatever business, whatever it consists of. There's only a specific...
Maybe I missed that, but the liquidator says in his filing the entire brand of FTX ultimately operated from the Bahamas. So, I don't know.
Perhaps the PM and the liquidators should have spoken first. But yeah, that is what he said, though. So that's what the texter meant.
So, yeah. This person says, is the crypto space just not able to be comprehensively regulated to mitigate risks to a point where it is acceptable? The stuff was born in the dark web, leave it there. I mean, but see, the thing about it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what financial service thing that you look at. There are always going to be bad actors. I mean, we are kind of going about this thing as if this is the first time something like this has happened. This is the first time it's happened to us in this space, but this is not the first time that a well-regulated jurisdiction like the Bahamas has seen mismanagement of funds in a financial services firm. So, I mean, I don't know how we're looking or trying to look at this situation, but it can't be looking at it as if this is the first time this has ever happened in any kind of situation. We're trying to figure out how to not make it happen in the cryptocurrency space again.
Right.
You know, how do we change things to make it less easy for someone to come into the space and do the same thing? But people getting loomed, as Dwight said the other day, people getting loomed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you remember Loom.
I do. I didn't understand it, but I remember it.
Neither did I. I didn't understand it.
It's too much.
And I don't put my money in things I don't understand.
Right.
This person says, let's not make excuses. There are processes. Oh, no, I read that part already. So you're saying we have people in oversight that don't know how to oversee. Yes, I'm saying that. I find it very interesting in what's it called? I find it very interesting in financial services firms, like what we call offshore banks, that there's a compliance officer, right? And someone could correct me on this if I'm wrong, but they have compliance officers in financial services firms that are paid by the firm. So they are hired by the firm, paid by the firm. But they are required that if they see something going awry with what the firm is doing, to report it. So you got to go pimp on the company that's paying you. And I'm sure there's no way around this. I just always found it weird that, you know, that is the dynamic. Okay, it's just me? All right. It's okay. So this person says, has the question of when the $8 billion cash shortfall happened was detected and or reported, the regulator should provide answers to these questions. Okay, I believe Sam was doing this all around, but he just got caught up in the Bahamas.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's been going on for a while. It's just, it got to a point where, it takes that one little crack.
Yeah.
And that happened, and then everything just started snowballing.
And again, it took a leak, right? So
right.
So this
somebody
is the point.
leaked. Somebody leaked this internal report
Right.
that showed that, what is it, Almeida? I don't want to.
Alameda
Alameda.
Research. Yeah. But that's the point, right? The
point, their major assets was FTT.
Right. And
they were being held up, propped up by FTT.
Right. And that's the point. The point is, even in financial services firms here, outside of the audit, if something goes awry outside of the audit times and those things, and the internal compliance person catches it, I'm sure they're required to report it. But again, they're human beings. They're required to do it. Don't mean they always do it. Don't mean they always catch it. Doesn't mean it's always apparent to them, because there may be something internally that the executive people are doing that makes it look different. So these things are complex, and I wouldn't go so far as to blame the Securities Commission the way some people are. This person says, imagine if while driving along the highway, couldn't see the phone lines. We're going to take a call in a second. Imagine if while driving along the highway, your car tire fell off, the mechanic puts your tire back on and says, I see absolutely nothing wrong. I wouldn't change a thing. Keep driving. Huh? But you said they put it back on. Anyway. How confident would you be in your mechanic? Brave Davis needs to temper the puffy speeches. They sound nice, but they need to have basis in data. They investigated, and there's not one thing they could find that they could have done differently. That's a question. This person says, think on this. Binance announced that they had a provisional deal to buy FTX. After less than a day looking at their books, they backed out. Ask yourself, the news of the sell-off in search of a financier broke from the weekend. The Securities Commission waited until Thursday to act. After CZ reviewed the balance sheet, shouldn't the regulator have done what CZ did before he did it and come to the same conclusion before him? Well, this person said, nonsense. No one was looking, backdoor or not, if cash money moving, bank account balances fluctuating. But you're talking about bank account balances? This is not real money they were playing with. Anyway, and if they move in by the billions and violating margin requirements, something's wrong. No one was looking. Bad-mouthing is telling the truth. Bank accounts are not invisible. There is a segregated account that hold customers' money. But I think you're thinking about this from a regular financial services type of structure. I don't know that you're looking at this from the aspect of crypto and coins and
right, not understanding that this isn't like you couldn't go to a lending institution and be like, I'd like to get a loan, but I'd like it to be in cryptocurrency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no, so it's like you say, there wasn't any what is it, fiat? This isn't like a hard currency.
Right. So this person says no, Sam lost cash money, but the point is Sam was using a valuation of his company based on Play-Doh to borrow money. So it was cash, but it wasn't FTX that's regulated. Now I could be wrong here, and I'm just kind of trying to figure things out myself.
Like the rest of us, Chester.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll give you a pass.
Right. So from what I could see, it wasn't FTX that's regulated in the Bahamas that was going out using these particular funds, because FTX wasn't supposed to have these funds all over the place, for lack of a phrase, right? Alameda was using a valuation of coins that they own and all that. So the books look good, right? And we were able to borrow money. And yes, that money is cash that we're able to borrow. Have nothing to do with coins. But the coins and the values of those coins that exist in space were able to help me to get this money, and some of the money that were paid for these coins. Right.
How much?
So
Right.
This is complex, if you ask me. But anyway,
How much was, I think, what was they said, they're saying, what was he saying each one of his coins was worth in dollars? Like, it started off at 22.
So again, it's like, so the value of it fluctuates because it's supposed to be like a commodity, right? Something like that. So the value of it fluctuates, which is why when CZ said he was going to cash in all of his, people were concerned the value was going to drop because the system was going to be flooded with it, and then it would become almost worthless to people. So they all wanted to get rid of it at the same time, which was the problem. So I know
everybody started cashing out at one time. Well, not everybody. Yeah. But, a lot.
People are saying Laverne sounds like she's in a barrel, and that maybe your audio levels might be a bit high. I don't know.
I don't know. I promise you I'm not in a barrel.
All right. Let's go to this break, because we could try and figure this thing out all day. And I'm not an expert. I'm still trying to figure it out like everybody else. But it's complicated. Let's go to break, and Morning Blend will return right after.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
AP News, I'm Jackie Quinn. It's going to be a split Congress next year. Republicans have won enough seats to become the majority party in the House of Representatives. Kevin McCarthy's already been elected the leader of House members. The Senate will still be controlled by Democrats. Mitch McConnell, who remains the minority leader, says he didn't think the GOP would have the huge gains that others had predicted because
too much chaos, too much negativity, and we turned off a lot of these centrist voters, which is why I never predicted a red wave to begin with.
Air raid sirens sounded all across Ukraine early today, with Moscow unleashing more missile attacks. As for that missile that landed in Poland, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield says, regardless of who fired it,
this tragedy would never have happened but for Russia's needless invasion of Ukraine.
There's speculation Ukrainian air defenses may have accidentally fired that missile, something that country's president denies. In Moscow, Idaho, where 4 university students were killed in an off-campus home, police say they don't have a suspect, and they're dialing back an earlier reassurance.
We cannot say that there's no threat to the community. And as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times.
2 executions are slated today. Alabama authorities will execute a man convicted of slaying a preacher's wife in 1988. Oklahoma will carry out the death penalty for a man convicted of torturing and killing his girlfriend's baby in 1993. The Los Angeles County Sheriff says the 22-year-old driver who plowed into 24 police recruits yesterday did not test positive for being impaired.
It looks like it's an accident, a horrific accident.
5 of those struck were critically injured. This is AP News. Trying to get your cup of morning coffee might be a little tricky today at some Starbucks locations.
Employees at more than 100 Starbucks stores are staging a walkout over better pay, more consistent schedules, and higher staffing levels at busy stores. Starbucks has more than 9,000 company-owned stores in the U.S., and employees at individual stores have been deciding whether to unionize. Starbucks Workers United, which is organizing the strike, says it will take place in 25 states, and some workers plan to picket all day. The employee action also coincides with Starbucks' annual Red Cup Day. I'm Donna Warder.
As international climate talks in the Egyptian desert go into the final days, the focus is on getting agreements on key issues, like paying compensation for climate disasters, ending all fossil fuel use, and additional financial help for poor nations. I'm Jackie Quinn, AP News.
It's time for your Morning Blend traffic alert. This segment of Morning Blend is brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. Traffic looking a bit dodgy out there. In the hot spots, Gladstone Road is already backed up to Fire Trail Road. And the traffic on Fire Trail Road backed up past on Sir Milo Butler Highway, backed up past Fire Trail Road, with traffic building on Fire Trail Road eastbound. On Carmichael Road eastbound heading to Blue Hill Road, traffic is already piled up. Of course, that means traffic on Blue Hill Road heading down to the roundabout at Independence Drive. Slow going at the moment. Over on the Eastern Road, traffic backed up way past Fox Hill Road, all the way to Dodge Road. It's pretty bad there. Of course, we know there aren't that many arteries coming out of the east, so be patient. Prince Charles Drive, there by Beatrice Avenue, traffic is built up all the way back to Doris Johnson. Oh my. It is a rough commute there on Prince Charles this morning. We're going to have more in traffic later in the show and update you on how that's flowing. That's your Morning Blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay until February 2023. And now it's 7:48. It's time for your Morning Blend weather check. Any weather for today? The general situation, streaming tropical moisture along with a cold front that is moving across the northwest Bahamas will support shower activity over the islands through tonight. There remains the slight risk of funnel clouds or waterspout activity. Mariners and beachgoers in the southeast Bahamas should exercise caution due to the possibility of rip currents, especially along eastern shorelines. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy, warm, and humid, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft operators should exercise caution after the frontal passage. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds variable, less than 10 knots ahead of the front, becoming north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots behind the front. Seas 1 to 3 feet ahead of the front, increasing 4 to 6 feet behind the front. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather mostly sunny and very warm with isolated showers. Winds northeast to east at 10 knots or less in the central Bahamas, and easterly at 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the central Bahamas, 3 to 5 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Your high temperature today, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Your low temperature, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have your extended forecast in the 8 o'clock hour. That's your weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Do you want a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha Kryptonite scooters? Do you like the great taste of Frito-Lay chips? Well, all you have to do is purchase chips like Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos at your favorite grocery store, and you can enter to win thanks to Frito-Lay and the Island Wholesale Scooter Giveaway Promotion. Want to know more? Join us at Value Depot, 20 Williams Drive, November 19th, this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. for a chance to play Island Wholesale Shoot and Win game for instant prizes and a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha scooters. Frito-Lay, distributed by Island Wholesale.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Piggy Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, fat inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Link up with BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
With all the fiber you
know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robart, sitting in for Dwight Strachan, who is in the Maldives. And I'm with Laverne Gardner. Laverne, you still with me?
I am. I was just, I tried to check my audio, so I don't know if I sound any better. But.
You sound better. You always sound good to me. So, I mean, somebody sent me an article. I mean, if you have not been inundated with FTX information over the last week, you probably weren't on the internet. But one of the most interesting things about this whole saga that somebody pointed out to me and that I realized yesterday is that there are going to be a lot of lawsuits and things, questions that need to be answered by Sam Bankman-Fried. And I don't know if he has legal counsel at the moment, but this man is giving everything away on Twitter.
What?
No, like he's whatever evidence they need to do what they need to do with him and his companies, you're going to find it on Twitter. And then there's an article by Vox.com that someone sent me. And, I mean, this man is just basically spilling his guts to the world. Yeah. More power to him. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to many of the text messages, maybe in Morning Blend Business, because there are a lot of text messages, people breaking down this thing. But somebody sent me a text right before we go to the news break saying, morning, it is the money laundering reporting officer who should report, and that person is not always the compliance officer. So they could be, they might not be. Everyone had a duty to report. The money laundering reporting officer only makes a decision to report to the FIU, the financial something unit. What was the I? I forget. Many times a MLRO, which is the money laundering reporting officer, doesn't have charge over each transaction. So there is a lot. There is a lot going on. A lot going on in these financial services. I've never heard of the money laundering reporting officer. And so y'all keep telling me about what happens in these financial services firms because it's very interesting. This person says before we go to the break, I don't know what happened by Bankman-Fried is a ruse. He is an MIT grad and knows exactly what he was doing. All right, we're gonna go to a break and Morning Blend will return on the other side.
Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And now at 8:19, it's time for your final look at this morning's weather. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Your general situation, streaming tropical moisture along with a cold front that is moving across the northwest Bahamas, will support shower activity over the islands through tonight. There remains a slight risk to moderate risk of funnel clouds or waterspout activity. Mariners and beachgoers in the southeast Bahamas should exercise caution due to possible rip currents, especially along eastern shorelines. For the northwest Bahamas, weather partly cloudy, warm, and humid, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Small craft operators should exercise caution after the frontal passage. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds variable, less than 10 knots ahead of the front, becoming north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots behind the front. Seas 1 to 3 feet ahead of the front, increasing 4 to 6 feet behind the front. For the central and southeast Bahamas, weather mostly sunny and warm, with isolated showers, winds northeast to east at 10 knots or less in the central Bahamas, and easterly at 15 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 1 to 3 feet in the central Bahamas, 3 to 5 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Your high temperature today, 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. Your low temperature tonight, 71 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. In your extended forecast for the next 2 days, the cold front is expected to stall just south of New Providence and remain quasi-stationary through Saturday. High pressure will build behind the front and support cooler conditions. Your forecast for tomorrow, variably cloudy and warm and a bit breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots in the northwest Bahamas. Northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots in the central Bahamas. Easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas. Seas 4 to 6 feet in the northwest and southeast Bahamas, 3 to 5 feet in the central Bahamas. Your outlook for Saturday, variably cloudy and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. Your tropical weather outlook, the tropics remain quiet and tropical cyclone development is not expected during the next 5 days. That's your weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And it's time again for your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. This segment of Morning Blend has been brought to you by RBC. Make this Christmas whatever you want it to be with an RBC personal loan. Things have only gotten worse out there on Gladstone Road. The traffic is now backed all the way up to Fire Trail Road and slightly past Fire Trail Road. So Malabadla Highway, the traffic has thickened past Fire Trail Road. And the traffic on Fire Trail Road eastbound is just about halfway to Gladstone Road. If you can avoid that area, I would say do so. The traffic is thickened on Carmichael Road eastbound at the junction of Blue Hill Road, but it seems like it's moving ever so slightly. But the traffic Going up the hill there to Independence Drive, that is pretty thick. And of course, on Independence Drive, eastbound and westbound, the traffic is pretty much halfway on each side to the roundabout. So be patient if you're on those roads. Eastern Road looking a little bit better now. Traffic still backed up though to Fox Hill Road, but looks like it's flowing. Lots of traffic on Bernard Road right now. You might want to avoid that road westbound. Prince Charles Drive, lots of traffic still. The traffic almost back from Beatrice Avenue to Fox Hill Road. It is a rough commute on those roads, guys. Drive safely. Take care of each other on the street. If you can avoid, again, Village Road, do so. It's still under construction. That's your Morning Blend traffic alert. Apply for a loan with RBC at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan. And don't pay until February 2023.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. To RBC, get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotia Plan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotia Plan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robar, still sitting in for Dwight Strachan, who is in Canada. And we're just going to go through some more FTX stuff. I'm with Lorraine Gardner, by the way.
Okay, we're going to Chester, we're going to trade out one of those R's and insert a V because it's Laverne.
I'm sorry. Oh, Laverne, please forgive me. Please forgive me. You know, I don't even know where I got that from. I believe I read the name just now while I was reading something. Anyway. So we're going to be talking about jollification in just a second. We almost got everybody we need. Somebody's downstairs at the moment. So we're waiting for them to come up. But let me read some of these text messages about FTX, what we were talking about just before the news break. So someone's telling me that there are other officers in these financial firms, right? So there's a chief risk officer who's the corporate, who's tasked with assessing and mitigating significant competitive, regulatory, and technological threats to a firm's capital and earnings. Now, question is, did FTX have a chief risk officer? Did FTX have a money laundering officer? MLR, what was that? MLRO? I'm sure they had a compliance officer. That seems standard. Financial intelligence unit, right? That wouldn't come to me for some reason. So this person says the money laundering reporting officer was the person who would report that. And then this person telling me the chief risk officer should also be somebody in one of those offices. I don't know if it was different for digital assets and cryptocurrency firms. But I guess we will find out as the provisional liquidators give us the information here sitting on the sidelines. But listen to me. Somebody needs to go grab a hold of Sam's phone and throw it in the Albany Marina because he is doing the most right now. There is a Vox.com article where he has just spilled his guts to this reporter and told him some things about regulators, some used words that I cannot even say on the radio, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Lorraine still there?
I'm right here.
AKA Lorraine?
Yes. Both of us are here.
This person says, man, you guys need to keep up. It was reported that all of the risk and compliance people resigned right after Binance rejected them. Yeah, but I don't know if that happened from this side. I'm not sure of that. There's still a lot more to figure out about this story. And we are going to stay on it as usual.
Good morning.
Things are coming from all directions. Oh, you're talking to somebody on Zoom, I assume.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I just entered the room, so I just said good morning. This is
this Chantal?
from BNT.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If you guys want to put those, so we are ready to talk about jollification. Everybody's here.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all good. So we have Chantal Curtis, who's with Bahamas National Trust, the New Providence Parks manager. We've got Laurie Russell, who's representing Suncash in studio with us, and Allison Middleton, who is the Central Bank and Sand Dollar Communication official because Sand Dollar needs its own person there, right?
Yes.
That's how it works. Okay, we got the mics up there. Excellent. So, welcome, guys. Welcome, Chantal, virtually. We are happy to have you here to talk about something that everybody loves and has missed very much for the past 2 years, right?
Yeah, I think
That is correct.
Yeah. So let's start with Chantal. And let's start with the elephant in the room. And the elephant is not FTX.
Okay.
Tell us, Chantal, what's going to be happening this weekend. But start off with Village Road.
Well, good morning, everybody. So lovely to be here. I'm actually on location in Eleuthera right now.
Okay.
And so, but yes, Village Road, I know everyone is really concerned about the road works, but let me ease your fears that we will be, everything will be smoothed out. There wouldn't be any issue with parking. There wouldn't be any issue with access to the retreat. The contractors who are doing the work, they've been doing a tremendous job. They've been working along with us. They have, assured us that everything will be smoothed out and good to go for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So please come out. Do not let, the construction that's happening on Village Road deter you. You still have access, you still have parking, and you're going to come out and have a wonderful time as we, have jollification now after the 2-year hiatus.
Yeah. So so tell us about how things are going to work. We're still talking about the road construction. Is the entrance going to be the same place as it always has been?
So our entrance will still be at the same place it always has been. But as you are aware, for jollification, we don't have any vehicular traffic entering the property.
Right.
And so as usual, parking will be across the street utilizing Queens College parking lot. There will also be parking available along the sides of the road. And so we just want everybody to be safe. We will have parking attendants out there helping to coordinate, parking to make sure that there are no challenges to people trying to get in and out. But yes, parking across the street, parking along the side of the road, only foot traffic allowed within the retreat.
Right.
So the access will still be the same entrance is the way you'll be entering the retreat.
Right. Anything new and different happening this year that we may have not seen before?
Well, we will have a lot of our usual vendors. We have our sponsors, and I will get into all of those names in a bit. We do have a partnership with the Genesis Teen Hawks, who will be running a Junkanoo workshop for young people. And so they will be learning about the history of Junkanoo, the rhythm, dancing, drumming, pasting. And so that is definitely a fun, interactive session that we encourage anyone who's interested to come on participate. You don't have to, it's not anything that you can sign up for in advance, but once prior to the start of the workshop, they will be, have a sign-in sheet because there is a limited amount of space for participants. And so that's a fun and engaging activity that we do have at Jollification this year. But as you know, we do have lots of games, lots of activities for the kids. We still have our kids' corner, lots of things for adults, lots of vendors, artisans, a lot of Bahamians who are going to be displaying a lot of their crafts. And so just come out, have a good time, eat some food, support local Bahamians, support Bahamian vendors. It's going to be a great, fun atmosphere, welcoming in the holidays. And so, yes, just come out, enjoy it, take in everything. It's going to be a great experience.
Excellent. What about placement for certain things? So, some people have been used to an area that's designated for, all the drinks, the special drinks, and those kinds of things. Are things going to be where people remembered them?
Things are going to be where people remember them. So I know that looking at the retreat from the outside in, it might be a bit overwhelming because, we have made some adjustments to the way the entrance looks. But in terms of, the tents, vendors, all of the activities, all of the beverages and everything. Everything is going to be right where you remember them. We do have a site map, and so once you enter, you will have a map available for you to look at, so you can reference where you are, where things are, and so we're going to make things as easy and seamless as possible. We want everyone to have a good time. We don't want anyone to be confused. Just we want everyone to come out and just be relaxed and have fun. So we take care of all of the hassle so that you don't
Speaking
have
of
to be hassled. Yes.
Yeah, speaking of ease and without seams, Sand Dollar, right?
Yes.
That's being introduced to Jollification this year.
Yes. So BNT decided that it would graciously, I guess, go along with our sponsorship offer.
Right.
And that Sand Dollar would be one of 3 payment methods
Okay.
that are accepted. So you can pay in Sand Dollar, but if you're not comfortable with Sand Dollar, you can pay in cash, you can pay a credit card. And that's at the gate and at a few of the vendors that are on the site. I think we have about 50 or so that
Right.
will also be accepting Sand Dollar in addition to cash.
Mm.
And a few of them will also be accepting credit card.
Right. Chantal, is this something we've seen before? People taking cards? It's been mostly cash for the most part over the years, hasn't it?
It's been mostly cash over the years, but we did launch with Sand Dollar during the Wine and Art, which was a few weeks ago.
Right.
And so it was a pretty, well, I guess you can provide feedback on how the process went, but I assume it was a pretty seamless process, and so we are doing the same for Jollification. But once again, we want to stress that there are multiple payment options. You can use Sand Dollar, you can use cash, you can use credit, whichever currency is you're most comfortable with. We don't want anyone to be deterred by technology or anything that might seem like a change that might make you uncomfortable. We are still, all currencies are accepted at Jollification, so we really want to stress that.
Okay, so you can tell, how did that go? Wine and Art. You both can say, Laurie, you were, Sun Cash was there.
Yes, we were present.
Yep, so.
Yep, we were present. That was 2 weeks ago at the Wine and Arts Festival, and we allowed a number of the merchants, majority of them, to accept Sand Dollar. And it actually went very well. We had great feedback from both the customers that used Sand Dollar for the first time and the merchants. And some of the merchants that were at Wine and Arts Fest are also at Jollification, and they will be using the same QR codes, and they are actually excited to accept Sand Dollar again this weekend.
Right. And is it going to be similar to what we saw at the Wine and Food Festival, that you can use whatever wallet you have?
So Sand Dollar, there are about 7 authorized financial institutes that allow you to use Sand Dollars within their apps.
Right.
Sun Cash is just one of them, but you are free to use any of them. Download any in advance, or even the day of, because there will be Wi-Fi and everything there.
Right.
But you can download any of the apps of your choice and just tap, scan, and pay the QR codes, and those transactions are done in seconds. In most instances, it's even faster than a credit card.
Right.
So we're really looking forward to it this weekend.
Excellent. Allison, tell us, since this whole Sand Dollar revolution, I'm saying revolution, since the Art and Wine and Food Festival, have you seen a lot more people using Sand Dollar? Have Sand Dollar transactions increased?
Yes.
Outside of these festivals?
Outside of the festivals, they've increased. We have definitely on our communication lines and mediums, you have so many individuals and businesses actually contacting us. You get a lot more, feedback in how we go about it. As Laurie would have alluded to, a lot of the vendors actually have businesses, and we have a few of them that have said that, they want to move in this direction, especially the food vendors, because they don't want to have to deal with making change or dealing with money because it can be dirty. There's always the risk and chance that it would be counterfeit. So we do know that these, activation events, they're serving the purpose, and which is to give an easy introduction to those that are wondering what is this, what we've been talking about for the last 2 years.
Right.
And they get the opportunity to touch, feel, and use it. And then afterwards, they could spend it at some of the merchants that accept it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Laurie.
Yep. So also, Sand Dollar is not just limited to making payments to merchants. All of the AFIs have different features within their apps that you can use Sand Dollars for, like paying your utility bills, topping up phones, buying gift cards, vouchers, and the list goes on.
Right.
So you're not limited to just saying, I'm only using this app to pay people. I can also transact and do my day-to-day duties with Sand Dollar.
Right. I got a question coming in. Someone, and you mentioned that you can use your leftover Sand Dollars to pay for other things. And they were saying since the festival, I think they went to a food store and they told them that it's not working. They can't redeem the Sand Dollars at the food store.
So it's not working. I would ask, are they using the bans that were issued? Because if they're using the bans that were issued at the International Food Festival, they aren't necessarily fully Sand Dollar enabled.
Right.
And my suggestion would be to transfer that over to a
wallet.
app.
Okay.
Yeah, wallet. They can contact the wallet provider that issued the bans, and they'll be happy to do that for them.
Okay.
But one thing that we're doing during this push is also making sure that the merchants fully understand, and especially the larger ones with a very high turnover with staff, having to learn a new system and having to learn several systems, the POS, the Sand Dollar,
Right.
the this, the that, the other, can be a bit overwhelming.
Right.
And so the response of it doesn't work might be easier than I'm not sure how to use it. Let me
Gotcha.
ask for help.
That might be the problem, but the person's telling me they tried. They have Sand Dollar in their Canoe wallet, and they tried to use it at Super Value, and they told them it wasn't working or something. I don't know. So who knows? There's this person, another texter saying, why after 2 years is Jollification foregoing the gate revenue to use the Sand Dollar CBDC? Now, I don't think we talked about what the entrance fee is and how that works yet. So I don't know who wants to jump on that and explain that.
Well, I will jump on that. We're not foregoing the gate revenue. So just to talk about, let me just provide some clarity on what's happening. And so on Friday, we will be having the members night. And so for the members night will be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and the admission is $10. And so that means proof of membership, BNT membership, whether it's single, family, supporting, whatever level of membership you have, you show your proof of membership and entrance will be $10 to get in. And that's for the members night, which is on Friday. And then for Saturday and Sunday, Jollification will run from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And so for adult non-members, the entrance fee will be $15. For BNT members, it's $10. For children, and children are between the ages of 5 and 17, it will be $5. And children who are under the age of 5 will be free. So that is the fee structure for Jollification. And if you're not a member, have no fear. You can still sign up to become a member at the entrance, at the gate. So we have different membership options. Become a BNT member. It really helps to support a lot of the work that we do. And I just want to stress that Jollification is really a fundraiser for the retreat. For those of you who may not be aware, the retreat is a national park. It's one of 4 national parks that we have on the island of New Providence. It is a lovely space that protects wildlife. We have native plants and trees there, animals, and it also houses one of the largest private palm collections in this hemisphere. And so become a member, come out to Jollification, support the work that we do. Conservation makes sense. It helps all of us. And so we just really want your support.
Right. So in case you missed it, Texter and Allison, you can expand on this, but Sand Dollar is a sponsor of this event.
Yes, Sand Dollar is one of the sponsors for the event. Chantal will certainly list the other sponsors
Right.
before we wrap. And part of our encouragement to get people out to the event that have Sand Dollar or, again, want to test it out and see what it is that Sand Dollar at the gate will pay for either full or partial entrance. And so maybe that's where the confusion comes in.
Okay.
But Sand Dollar is paying for it. BNT is not giving up any of its revenue.
All right. Don't forget, Jollification at the Bahamas National Trust is this weekend. Sand Dollar will be covering admission for BNT members with a Sand Dollar enabled wallet. If you're a non-member and you have a Sand Dollar enabled wallet, Sand Dollar will take $10 off the cost of your ticket, which means you'll only pay $5. Children ages 5 to 17 with an adult who has a Sand Dollar enabled wallet get in free. Sand Dollar discounts are available to a limited number of attendees, so you may want to get to Jollification early. We're going to take a quick break, and Morning Blend will return right after.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
I just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC. Link up.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and 0 upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Blend. I'm Chester Robards along with Laverne Gardner. Laverne, are you coming for jollification?
Yes, I was waiting for Guardian to send my ticket and all my arrangements. The
You know
last
what?
time everybody was on talking about it, I did express that I was available. I mean, it was considered a work event because you want media coverage.
Yeah.
So
Let me work on that for you. Maybe we could send a whole plane for you.
Chester, Dwight actually said the same thing. Let me work on that for you, and I haven't heard from him since.
I think that's why he ran away.
You're right.
That's why I am.
And so I am still, available. I'm keeping my schedule open this weekend so that if I need to come over and cover the event, I'll make that sacrifice.
Well, there you go.
Well, Laverne, on behalf of the Bahamas National Trust, we would love for you to come over and cover the event. So just throwing that into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let's hope it sticks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think, Lori, do you have a cup for every event or every, thing that you go to? You just happen to bring a Bahamas cup with a parrot on it?
Well, this is Bahama Birder.
Yeah, okay.
This is a vendor that attended the Wine and Arts
Oh,
Festival, and
okay.
I paid them with sand dollars to get this tumbler. So I've been using it ever since, but they'll also be at Jollification.
What is Bahama Birder?
So they take wildlife photos of endangered birds or just birds native to the Bahamas, and they make tumblers. They put them on, they frame them, and they also make annual calendars.
Oh, good to know. Very interesting.
What I wanted to know also is in the event that, people, of course, we want to encourage people to use sand dollar or some other form of kind of secure payment. Because, these events and a lot of cash carrying around, cash isn't very safe. But God forbid, if there is an issue, is there anybody who will be able to offer technical assistance on site at Jollification if there's an issue with people accessing their wallet and being able to use sand dollar?
Yes, actually, there will be a number of Suncash representatives along the property and sand dollar reps all over the property. They'll be all over the property. They have different posts, different tents. There are persons also stationed at the gates. So if any merchants need help, if any customers need help, they can go up to the tents or any of the reps, even who will be walking around, and they can assist you from there.
All right. Talk about the tech that we might see out there. I know Suncash might have some new things going on and some things you introduced at the Wine and Art Festival, right?
For sure. So we have machines out there, our fast pay machines that allow you to load or withdraw from any sand dollar wallet of your choice.
Right.
So it's not specific to Suncash. You can go to any of them once it is sand dollar and pull or push. So even if you do not want to tell somebody or disclose, I want to put this amount on my account or something, you can go straight to the machine and do it yourself.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty simple. And we'll also have some other machines out there, but that's a surprise. But definitely the push and pull fast pay will be there for sand dollar.
So you said something interesting there. Are you able to give like a vendor cash and they could put that money, that value on your wallet? Like any vendor?
So at the event,
Right.
let's say the vendors are accepting cash and they want to actually not deal with that.
Right.
And they can go up to the machine and they can transfer that into sand dollar. We saw that when we were in Exuma.
Okay.
At the regatta.
Right.
There were quite a few of the stalls, because they were so cash heavy, they didn't want to carry that or manage that. And so you would see that every hour or so they were coming up to the Suncash machines and actually depositing money that it would go onto their Suncash wallet.
And from a vendor aspect, when they're done with this whole thing, they just move that money to their bank accounts? Is that how that works?
Yes. There are a number of features within the app, like I told you, that they can use. So if they want to pay bills or depending on what they want to do with the funds, they can do it from there, or they're free to send it to any local bank account in the Bahamas. There's all of them on, so any bank account.
Right. And remind us how it works. If you have a verified wallet or you don't have a verified wallet, what you can do, how much you could have on those things.
Okay, so we have different tiers for wallets for Sand Dollar, and the financial institutions are guided by that.
Right.
And so you have the introductory tier, which is $500 is the limit,
Yeah.
and $1,500 is the spend per month. That is generally designed, again, as an introduction and for those who are unbanked or underbanked, who are our target audience.
Right.
Then you have a premium tier, which the limit is $8,000. The holding limit, that's the maximum you can have in there. And then the transfer, monthly transfer is $10,000. And then you have a merchant wallet or a business wallet,
Okay.
which is customizable. It's $8,000 to $1 million.
Right.
You have to justify that you need more than $8,000 to hold that,
Right.
because you generally wouldn't hold that in the business in cash.
Right.
And you think of Sand Dollars not a cash replacement; it is a cash alternative.
Right.
But we find that a lot of small businesses go with the regular tier that most of us have because they have no reason to hold. For them, they have decided there's no reason for them to hold more than the $8,000.
Right.
But when some of the wallet providers, for you to link your debit card to load your wallet ahead, and we do encourage that. If you already have a wallet, go ahead and do the upgrade to link it to your bank account. You can pull the funds in seamlessly. You don't have to use a top-up facility. For some of those, then you do have to upgrade to the tier 2 or the premium wallet.
Right. Just for clarity, in these very tumultuous times, Sand Dollar is a central bank digital currency, not a cryptocurrency.
Yes, it is a digital representation of a physical Bahamian dollar. That's all it is.
Yes.
Doesn't go up and down or anything like that.
Issued by the same institution that issues the banknotes that we have come to know and love, at least at Central Bank. We like to think that everyone loves our colorful banknotes. Yes. And it's also legal tender in the country.
Right. So Chantal, jump back in here. Tell us again what we have to look forward to this weekend.
So it is definitely a time to jingle and mingle at Jollification. And so we're going to have lots of vendors who will be displaying lots of their crafts. We'll have lots of food vendors who will be there as well. We will, as I mentioned, we'll have the Genesis Teen Hawks who will be running a Junkanoo workshop for anybody who's interested in participating. We'll have food, drinks, a lovely, fun, relaxing atmosphere for the family. That's from the very young to the very old. We have something for everyone. It is a great return after, the struggles and challenges of COVID. And so we just really want to encourage everyone to come out. It's going to be a great time. Come out and enjoy nature. We outside. We just want you to come out and support. Yeah. And I just want to remind everyone it's a national park. I have to stress that because I know sometimes we really get caught up on the fact that it's an event, but we want to remind people that it is a national park. So we do want to encourage you to keep that in mind. We will have receptacles for recycling, like aluminum cans. We also have an individual who will be collecting a lot of the bottles. So all of the glass bottles will be recycled. And then for other trash, we do have waste bins that will be scattered throughout the property. So we want to encourage you to utilize those waste bins. Yes, and just come out with your family, your friends, have a good time, jingle and mingle.
Right. So good thing you reminded me of this because somebody just asked me first they asked me, how do I get Sand Dollars? Like somebody's still asking me, how do we get Sand Dollars?
No, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine to ask those questions. So you can just download any of the Sand Dollar enabled apps, Cash and Go, Money Max, Canoe, Mobile Assist, Island Pay, Omni, Sun Cash. You can download any of those apps and you can get Sand Dollar. Anyone that has questions can, of course, contact me directly at 9880 or 357-4881. But we also want to reiterate, yes, Sand Dollar is giving or subsidizing a discount at the gate, but there are 3 ways to pay. You pay however you are comfortable, and that's cash, credit card, or Sand Dollar. And before we wrap, I really would like to give Chantal the opportunity to mention the other sponsors for the event.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And so Commonwealth Bank is a long-term major sponsor, and we are thrilled that our other loyal jollification sponsors are back. And these include Summit Insurance, Asa H. Pritchard, Caribbean Bottling, Bristol Wines and Spirits, Jimmy's Wines and Spirits, Bahamas Waste, and Expressions Entertainment. We do also have some new sponsors. We have Alive, Caribbean Wines and Spirits, and of course, Sand Dollar. And so we just want to thank all of our sponsors. They're helping to make this possible. And as I mentioned, this is a fundraiser to help to support the work that we do with the Bahamas National Trust. And so we really, really want you to come out, enjoy, become a member, and help to support the work that we do.
Awesome. Any final words, Lori?
Well, I just want to say we are so thankful for being the official wallet holder for this event and for Sand Dollar for Jollification. And we are looking forward to seeing everybody come out this weekend and use their Sand Dollar wallets. I will be there personally, so if anybody needs assistance, you can come to me directly, and I am willing to help.
Oh, there you go.
She's very helpful.
Allison, any last words?
Just, we do really support BNT and its efforts. And for us, this is just, again, one other opportunity for those that are interested in Sand Dollar, wanting to know more about it, to have an easy transition into the digital space.
Yeah. Well, I am all for it. I am here for it. My event, the Jig Johnny Challenge, is going digital this year too, so I had to plug myself there. Anyway, Chantal, Allison, Laurie, thanks so much for bringing this information. I look forward to seeing you guys out there this weekend.
Yes,
Yes,
as soon as you come.
thank you so much. And please make sure send Laverne. I just have to throw that out there as well.
Thank you.
I'm looking out
Thank
for
you.
Laverne. I'm looking out for you, Laverne.
I'm sending
Thank you
it.
so much. I appreciate that.
I'm sending an entire
the
plane.
jet.
Yeah, the jet. I'm
Yeah.
sending a jet for Laverne. Or a helicopter.
honored.
Helicopters are
I
fun.
think a helicopter.
Yeah, I think so too. That's novel.
Nah, just send the plane. I just Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. We're going to break and we'll be back to wrap up the show and begin Morning Blend business after this.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business. I'm Chester Robards along with Laverne Gardner. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. It is good to be alive.
Yes, it is.
Here in this beautiful country of ours that we call home. And listen, people are still talking about FTX on this chat line.
Of course.
But somebody said, I missed it. Please tell me what BNT is doing this weekend. Huh? What?
Jollification.
How'd you miss that? Jollification. We were talking with the Central Bank of the Bahamas and Suncash and yeah, they are having jollification. Jollification is back. We missed 2020, we missed 2021, and they are back for 2022.
So
And
make sure that you are out there this weekend,
that's right.
Saturday.
And if you're using your $1 wallet, you can get in.
That's fine.
You can get in.
Top it up and go ahead. You can use that so you don't even have to worry about carrying cash. But if you still want to carry cash, you can.
Yeah.
Because they are accepting that. And I think they may have people out there accepting credit cards as well.
Yep, credit cards, cash, $1. If you're
Okay.
it says if you're a non-member and you have a $1 enabled wallet, $1 will take $10 off the cost of your ticket, which means you'll only pay $5. And if you're a BNT member, they're covering the cost of it with a $1 wallet. So if you're a member of the BNT, you get in for free. And this
So
person,
that is what you're going to be doing Saturday.
Yeah.
And if Chester is to be believed, and if this will be an incentive, apparently I'm going to be there because Chester's working that out for me.
we're working hard. Like
He's working hard at that.
Anybody flying from Grand Bahama on Saturday morning?
It depends on whether or not you'll be paying them in cryptocurrency. I'm sorry, that was awful of me.
Hey, it's true. The person who was asking about what BNT is doing said they just became a new member of BNT last week.
Oh, wow.
Last week.
Wow.
So, welcome to the BNT family.
Awesome for you.
It pays
Sounds like you're going there for free.
That's right. So load up that wallet and head on over to Jollification on the weekend. I know I'll be there. So, Morning Blend Business, we're going to continue to talk about this whole FTX debacle. This texter says the LinkedIn profile of the FTX compliance MLRO indicates that she only had 5 years financial services experience. This suggests she was a fledgling and lacked the experience for requisite oversight. Interesting. So we were going through who needs to be in financial services companies because I only knew of a compliance officer, to be honest. And it sounds like, so the MLRO, the money laundering, reporting officer? Something I just learned about. Then there's somebody who reports to the financial intelligence unit. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I've been writing about it for years. This person says, oh, man, you guys need to keep up. It was reported that all of the risk and compliance officers resigned. Okay, I read that. But then they sent another text saying, yes, from the Bahamas, and they left the country. So there weren't, are they saying there weren't Bahamians in these positions? That would be sad. Okay, now this person. Good morning. Okay, we read that. Chester, are there more stringent rules for RWAC X than FTX? Probably different rules, but I don't think RWAC X is under the DARE Act. They are regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, but I don't know that they are under the DARE Act. They use real cash to allow you to make investments. So they don't have a digital asset per se. They are an online company in that they transact. You're able to transact through their website, but no, they I don't think they're under the DARE Act. Excuse me. So no, they're not different rules. They're under a different regulatory regime. Okay, they're talking about something completely different. And this person says the examination of margins and margin thresholds is done by a credit risk manager and not a compliance officer. So again, another person in a firm. Risk is different from compliance, and all of the risk governance is what the Securities Commission should have demanded for them to open operations. So when the PM says we couldn't have done anything different, that's an uninformed opinion at best. All right, fair enough. This person says, great show as usual. Question: since FTX failed, could I get all the junk just in case for some strange reason the coins become valuable? What junk? What are they talking about?
I don't know. I guess
I thought they were talking about the computers. No, you can't get anything.
You can't get anything. Everything is frozen, eh?
The liquidator gotta sell all that stuff. Sorry, they gotta make the money back. So no, you can't get nothing. Unless you were one of those people who were invested in FTX, then maybe you're gonna get something. So this person says this is not about digital assets. This is about FTX moving cash and then propping up the balance sheet with monopoly money to hide the missing cash. Well, the propped up thing was a digital asset, no?
They were propping, I think it was, and again, you'll have to correct me, Chester. Everything came out because they were propping up, how do you pronounce it? Alameda? Alameda. They were propping up Alameda. Right?
Right.
And so that's where it all started, because whatever was leaked, it showed that Alameda was really being propped up with FTT, which is FTX's coin. That was the majority of their assets.
Mm-hmm.
It was in FTT. So that started this whole spiral of what's going on. And then, of course, they had a cash shortage problem, and with Binance pulling out, and that just sent everybody into a tailspin.
Yeah.
But, I want to go back to something that you had said earlier when you were talking about that typically you don't really hear a lot about like these other companies involved in crypto. Like FTX really was just everywhere. And you only really heard about Binance, which is really large in that industry, but you really only heard about them from once this started happening with FTX. So it goes back to, I guess, what Friedman was saying when he was saying, kind of being out there, and I guess maybe got caught up in all the glitz and the media and, being here, there, and everywhere, and, having the arena. That's what, in Florida, the FTX
in Miami.
arena in Miami. Do you think he paid for that in cryptocurrency? Just a question.
I'm absolutely 100% sure that people in Miami wasn't taking no crypto.
Right. So there you go. But when you think about it, people were paying cash money to purchase these coins. and they were using the cash, I guess, to do other things, and just everything spiraled right out of control. And so
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, yeah. People are really saying like this is one of the worst that they have seen. You've seen people call names like Madoff. Which
Yeah, this is right up there with that.
yeah, well, people are saying it's worse. I guess because it touches so many more people than just like the U.S. and
Right.
that kind of thing. It really is very widespread.
So many people are going to be
Digital
being impacted.
This digital COVID-19 now.
And I see where people are filing suits, and they're filing suits against any of these celebrities who promoted FTX.
Yeah.
They're just like, listen.
And this is the thing about, again, this is what I was saying earlier. None of the other big exchanges, some that were bigger than FTX, are out here just like flaunting what they do and who they are.
Right.
So I don't know if this was a red flag. And again, go and look at a Vox.com article about Sam Bankman-Fried today. He basically was telling a reporter, if this is all true, that his what am I trying to say here? That the idea that regulation for his space, for the cryptocurrency and digital asset space, was a good thing. Like him saying this publicly was basically just a public relations ploy. He doesn't actually really think that regulation and regulators are good things for the space.
It was, but when you really think about it, it was supposed to not be
right
regulated, right?
Right.
This was supposed to not be a regulated thing.
And not heavily regulated. So I think everybody feels like there's some level of regulation that is required. But they don't want to be over-regulated. That's why DeFi, decentralized finance, is called what it's called, right? It's decentralized. It's not part of a system. Yeah. Some more text messages. This person says, the risk was not properly evaluated and required mitigation not done. Hiding assets through companies needs to be exposed. And this person says, our regulations should require, if not already required, that investments over $1 billion have more stringent regulations, requirements to operate in your country. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Someone says, can you repeat the site of the Sam Fried article you're speaking about? voxvox.com. This person says, good morning. Do you know that they have not seized any of FTX assets, company, or money? FTX? I mean, that doesn't seem correct, but okay. Because they have several companies in different names, which were all, almost every company. I don't know how you could have so many companies, was listed in the lawsuit filing, in the Chapter 11 filing. So if they missed companies, for heaven's sake, the man got too many.
But even the validity of him filing bankruptcy in the U.S. is now being questioned,
right?
And the reason behind that is because they said primarily the majority of his companies or whatever were listed, regulated here, which goes back to why I guess the texter earlier said if you believed that it was just one company here.
Right. Well, we see the Securities Commission bring up the name Alameda Research and also another FTX subsidiary. So they are looking into those things. Now, did Alameda operate here in some capacity? That's something I'm waiting to find out. I don't know if it is. But there are some, if you read the list of company names that were listed in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, there are some like obvious local companies that they formed here. I don't know what they were for, maybe real estate holdings or something that are also listed. And yeah, I that's probably part of the reason why the liquidators had to file Chapter 15 and say that Sam's Chapter 11 wasn't authorized. This person also says Sam is just here shooting the breeze, basically saying he coasting. And then they complain about the road work on Village Road. Said people need to stop. They call it victimizing people. They say I can literally see my home 12 feet away, and they will try to divert me around another neighborhood, wasting time and gas. It's very disgusting. Yeah, that's wrong. That ain't cool. They should let you through to your house. So where is this thing gonna go? Nobody knows. Let me find the Vox article and just read some things from it.
Yeah, I pulled it up, so I'm,
You're looking at it.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's wow.
Um,
And he's just so, regulations. I was thinking in Washington, if this article is to be believed, and the author did post, their Twitter conversation, asking him, you were kind of lobbying for Washington with to regulate this industry, and kind of said, that was more PR than anything else. I wasn't really I guess at this point, what else? Maybe he's of the position, hey man, what else do I have to lose?
Yeah. So the article starts with, last night Sam Bankman-Fried DM'd me on Twitter. This is written by Kelsey Piper of Vox. That was surprising, he says. I'd spoken to Bankman-Fried via Zoom earlier in the summer when I was working on a profile of him, so I reached out to him via DM on November 13th after news broke that his cryptocurrency exchange had collapsed, with billions in customer deposits apparently gone. I didn't expect him to respond. Typically, people under investigation, which is highlighted, by both the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice don't return requests for comment. Bankman-Fried, though, apparently wanted to talk. And about FTX and his hedge fund Alameda Research had gambled. About how FTX and his hedge fund Alameda Research had gambled with customer money, he claims, realizing that's what they were doing. I guess realizing now that's what they were doing. About who gets lauded as a hero and who's the fall guy. About regulators, and they have as a parenthetical reference to what Sam Bankman-Fried said, F regulators, about what he regrets, the Chapter 11 decision to declare bankruptcy, and about what he would have done differently with FTX and Alameda. He says, more careful accounting, off-board Alameda from FTX, once FTX could live on its own. What does that mean? Once FTX could live on its own. So, about the Alameda propping and FTX, that is an interesting thing for regulators to look at. FTX could not live on its own. What does that mean? People who are in the financial services industry could tell me, if all along Alameda Research was needed to bankroll FTX, how does FTX alone come into a jurisdiction? I don't know. Someone got to answer that question for me. It's interesting. I don't know. I have no idea. That's an interesting line. Someone's saying the Commissioner of Police's statement that his agency has not interviewed Sam Bankman-Fried is alarming. Someone's got to explain how Sam Bankman-Fried can defy a Supreme Court order and that has not resulted in him being in contempt of court and a bench warrant issued for him. By his own admission, he says that he authorized transfer of FTX assets after the company was placed in an involuntary liquidation by the SCB on a court-supervised liquidator appointment. How, Sway? How? This person, this next texter says, how you and your guests feel about Bill promoting the Bahamas on a treasure hunt? Ain't nobody talking about Billy McFarland no more.
What?
Billy McFarland doesn't get shot down, man.
It's not going to happen. I think we've learned our lesson in terms of trusting this guy. He's a scam artist.
I'm so surprised that he was just on. Was he before or after FTX or around the same time?
He was during
FTX. They pop up the same time.
Yeah.
Like, where you come
scam
from?
Artist.
Where you come from? Oh man.
He's trying to figure out a way for him to make some more money. That's what.
Yeah. So. This Vox writer continues. It was past midnight Bahamas time where Bankman-Fried is reportedly still located, and we went back and forth on Twitter for more than an hour. He said, still working on trying to raise funding needed to pay back all his depositors. So I wrote in a story today that in the business section, which obviously I'm going to read during the business.
It only makes sense.
Business
This is
hour.
the business hour.
But, I wrote, Bankman-Fried continues to use Twitter to ruminate about saving a company he has no more executive power over.
Because he resigned.
Right. So I go on to say, Bankman-Fried's tweets paint a picture of a man desperate to figure out how his multi-billion-dollar company collapsed in a matter of days, and a man who has not yet grasped the finality of the SCB's move to freeze the company's assets and appoint provisional liquidators. Again, I said he's a smart guy, but there's also something a little disconnected right now. And it could be the stress of the whole situation. But there is no Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX anymore. He's going to have to go somewhere and start a company called FT Alpha and start over. And start over because...
I'm reading, I'm reading part of it, the same article.
Yeah.
And when the reporter is asking him about bending the truth, he says that Bankman-Fried has maintained that FTX has never invested the deposits of crypto account holders on the exchange. I pressed him, meaning the reporter, I pressed him on that point via Twitter, while he continued to insist that FTX did not directly use account money in this way. He said that Alameda, which he also owns, had borrowed far more money from FTX's balance sheet for investments than he had realized, which ultimately left FTX vulnerable to the crypto equivalent of a bank run.
Yeah. And
you don't know what's going on in your company.
That compresses
and
my
his
brain.
response is, sometimes life creeps up on you. What?
That statement compresses my brain. I do not even know what to think about it, only to say that I hope Sam is okay. Like, really and truly, mentally and physically, I hope he's all right. Because I don't understand some of the things that he's tweeting coming, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from a rational place.
Says Alameda really reportedly took huge losses after the crypto company Terra's Luna stablecoin collapsed. Bankman-Fried said he didn't realize the extent of the problem because of messy accounting.
Interesting, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let's while we try to wrap our heads around all of this, let's go to the break and the morning business report, and we'll be right back.
0 interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
We're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Prime Minister lauds first quarter deficit, defends government's travel expenditure. The country has recorded the lowest first quarter deficit in more than 10 years, Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis said yesterday, adding that government collected almost $60 million more in revenue in the first quarter of the budget year 2022-2023 than during the same period in the previous budget year. Davis added that the government expects the country's economy to grow by 3.2% as predicted by the International Monetary Fund. Davis, who made the remarks during a contribution to the House of Assembly, credited his government's fiscal prudence and sound policies for the improvement. And the internet has been awash with rumors that Bahamian and American authorities are having extradition conversations about Sam Bankman-Fried, former Chief Executive Officer of cryptocurrency exchange FTX. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Public Service Fred Mitchell told Guardian Business yesterday, "I don't know anything about it." Bankman-Fried remains a free man and is understood as cooperating with his former company's provisional liquidators. The governor government of the Bahamas yesterday signed a memorandum of understanding with the African Export-Import Bank, which has committed to invest $700 million in the Caribbean. Prime Minister Philip Davis yesterday said the agreement follows a meeting held with executives of the bank while he was in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt last week, and establishes a promising partnership that provides for the promotion and financing of South African trade, South trade between African countries and Caribbean states. And consumer prices see a modest increase in September. After a lull in August, consumer prices began to pick up again in September, increasing 0.3% month over month compared to the modest 0.1% recorded in the previous period. Bahamas National Statistical Institute, in its just-released Consumer Price Index for September, showed a 6.5% increase year over year, reflective of the continued pressures of global inflation. Overseas, the UK pushing to restore finances means higher taxes and energy bills. Millions of British people face higher taxes and steeper energy bills after the government announced an emergency budget on Thursday aimed at restoring the country's economic credibility and shoring up its battered public finances. Treasury Chief Jeremy Hunt promised to protect the most vulnerable, including pensioners and those on low incomes, and increase funding for core public services like health and education, even as he imposed £55 billion in tax increases and spending cuts. Hunt acknowledged he was delivering a substantial tax increase with measures that include higher taxes on top earners and levies on some businesses. And that's your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And welcome back to Morning Blend Business. I'm Chester Robards along with Laverne Gardner, and we are still trying to wrap our heads around this whole FTX matter.
Chester, I'm like reading this, continuing to read this article, and he just seems so, I guess, emotionally unattached from this entire situation and everything that's going on. He's just like, this is what happened. And
if you have ever met Sam Bankman-Fried, which when FTX first came here, I interviewed him one-on-one at the FTX office. And, Sam walks in the room with no shoes on, in shorts and, the big shirt that you always see him in. And he sits on the couch in the little office that we were in, folds up his legs, and he's sitting there rocking back and forth. And I was like, okay, ready for this interview. And he always, I shouldn't say always. It seems like he always sounds dispassionate about what he's talking about. There was never any, he wasn't excited about coming. Like he didn't sound excited about coming to the Bahamas. He didn't sound excited about what he was doing. He didn't sound excited about the prospect, that I think that's just how he is.
Like the kind of reactions you would typically get from an investor. Because I'm just reading this and he's just explaining like, it wasn't intentional. Like, so and one party says FTX doesn't have a bank account. So people were transferring or wiring money to Alameda's account to get money to FTX, except that money didn't go to FTX.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so they were whatever they were doing with Alameda, they were using funds that was in Alameda's account, but not technically, but truthfully, that wasn't Alameda's money. That was FTX's money that never made it to FTX account. How do you not realize that until 3 years later?
I can't wait for all of these questions to be answered.
He doesn't have an answer. He said it just got messy, and they didn't realize. It's like you go in, the more that he talks and the more days that pass, this gets messier and messier and messier.
Yeah, and he's on Twitter asking what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and then
you don't know and we don't know. I hope somebody finds out.
And saying that, he feels as if all of this could have been avoided if they didn't file for bankruptcy. Because he would have been able to raise the money to be able to pay off everybody's deposit. But I think that's just wishful thinking on his part, because who is going to have if one of the biggest companies who was going to assist you, bail you out, pulls out and say, you know what, after we looked at some things and with your books and whatever and we have some transparency issues, we've decided not to do it. How are you going to gain the confidence of other investors to come on board and help you?
That's true, but not just that. By last week, Thursday, he wasn't making decisions on the company.
Right.
So whatever he wanted to do had no basis in the reality of FTX after that.
And I think, did you see who now is the CEO? Which is very interesting to me, John J. Ray,
right,
who is a lawyer who helped creditors recover billions of dollars after the bankruptcy of the energy trading firm Enron.
Right.
So it's like you say, it's like that's all coming back, Enron and all of those.
Other messy situations. This person, we got a text coming in saying, I may have missed it, but has the opposition made any statement on this FTX issue, or are they tied to it as well? I don't know what that means. They've made statements on the government, not making statements.
Right.
This person says that's the only time it is. Why can't we ever get people who actually practice demanding transparency and accountability in government? This nation is managed worse than a tuck shop, Jed, is how they ended that. You guys are underestimating SBF's actions in Twitter. Both his parents are Stanford lawyers. He's getting the best advice. Either he is not listening to them, or he is doing exactly what he needs to do to get off. That's interesting too.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, it might help. I don't know.
Because in that article, they asked about advice. Maybe he's not very good at taking advice, because it was like the report is saying, well, weren't you getting advice? Didn't people say, well, hey, you got to look at this? He said he got some advice, some he takes, some he leave, not necessarily about that. Like he's just so casual, it appears. That he's just so very casual about this entire thing.
Yeah. Again, from having met him, I just feel like his demeanor is always the same. I don't know. This person says SBF is acting like a child after he was caught in wrongdoing. Oops, sorry. Our laws are weak when it comes to violators. So I don't expect anything to come out of this from our side except the provisional liquidators, who may I add are not investigators, taking years and paying themselves most of the money to bring closure to this case. He will be indicted by the U.S. and sent to jail for mismanaging clients' funds, while our Bahamas officials will remain mums the word and purport the lie that we are okay and have done an awesome job in dealing with this FTX saga. well, we'll see if that is the way you say it is. You say he's smart. Well, he better be smart enough to dig a tunnel out of jail because that's what he's okay. We don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. Everybody out for him. So I hope, like it said, I hope he got the best legal advice that can be had. I don't know how being on Twitter helps you. Excuse me, how being on Twitter daily helps you.
It's a part of a greater strategy that you nor I
and I
can grasp at this time.
And it's a thing, right? It's almost a generational thing. The Sam is what, 32, I think. A 32-year-old multi-billionaire who just lost one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges.
But is he really a billionaire still, though?
No. Well, as a former billionaire.
Former billionaire.
And I guess billionaire was always in question. But you know, this is this how the young people deal with these kinds of things now? Like Twitter is where I go to state my case and feel out how people are feeling, and I don't know, somehow I don't even know what to say. Somehow seek retribution. I don't know. Someone's asking, or saying that FTX may not have had a risk manager in place who could have helped to avert this problem. Again, we're hearing, for me, I'm hearing a lot of these positions for the first time. The only thing I knew about in financial services companies, because I'm not in financial services, I don't know a lot about what happens in terms of transactions and stuff, but people are saying outside of the compliance officer, which I knew about, you should have a money laundering person who would report to the financial intelligence unit if anything goes awry. They should have a risk manager in place to deal with certain things. So all of these positions, like who existed inside these companies and where did things fall down? Again, there was an article that I read earlier, a piece of an article with a gentleman from Barbados who said, I would not have touched FTX without certain things being in place. His name is Avinash Prasad. He's and I'm reading something, I guess it's on Wikipedia, an esteemed international economist who is currently the advisor to Prime Minister Motley in Barbados. He's a Barbadian national who amongst his many accolades, is a professor emeritus at Cambridge University. So he's currently the economic advisor to Prime Minister Motley. And he says, look, we told FTX, unless you have this, and this, that's the only way you're gonna be regulated or approved in this jurisdiction. And FTX is like, peace out. So the Prime Minister says we will come out of this with a stellar reputation. I hope he is absolutely correct. Speak it.
Fingers crossed.
I don't see how we come out of this unscathed. Yeah. So, someone's saying that FTX US probably had a risk manager, but that FTX, the company here, might not have had a risk manager. Again, if anybody knows more about this, always let us know. We in the media don't know everything, and we are in the business of information gathering, and we have to gather information from all kinds of sources. We do not have premonitions, and we do not write stories based on premonitions, but we write stories based on information gathering. Sometimes that requires people to tell us what they know, in the interest of the public good. We don't know everything, and we do appreciate. I appreciated all the text messages this morning. Laverne, I appreciate you. I think we're gonna wrap up the show, but I don't see the producer. So we go on. We live on. There we are. So thank you.